And the city never sleeps. The magic in the air so deep. We chase the moments, make them last. The future mirrors all the...
Welcome to the Icons Edit. We have another great episode for you today. This podcast is all about everything iconic, which is such a general thing to say, and icon is so overly used. But in this sense, it's nostalgia, it's icons, and it's everything from the 90s, 2000s, and we do some new stuff as well. Today, Cassie is with me. She's a fashionista, and she is a luxury content creator. But to say you're an influencer is just a disservice because you're way more than that.
Well,
you know
thank you.
everything about fashion.
Oh, I try. You know what? And it's changing all the time. You can't keep on top of it because it's always moving so quickly.
I know.
But I try my best, so thank you.
Cassie Thorpe, everybody. She's here to talk about, oh my God, a subject that I could talk about all day long.
Come on, we're British.
We are British, which should give you a bit of a clue, and it's about fashion.
Yeah.
Dame Vivienne Westwood.
A legend.
I mean, absolute legend. We had to do a whole podcast on it. So I don't even want to say these words, but if you don't know who Vivienne Westwood is, tune out because this is not for you. I'm going to guess that most people do know Vivienne Westwood.
One would hope. And the thing is that, like, with Viv, she's managed to make, well, had, past tense, it's always tough.
I know,
you know?
It's so tough.
She'd managed to make a brand that was built completely on, like, being subversive and provocative.
Oh, really
and
provocative.
Exactly. Into something that isn't quite mainstream, has a mainstream element.
Yes.
But the way that it's got this sort of, like, seductive element that pulls you in.
So seductive.
It's an absolute masterclass. And you just don't find brands like that anymore.
Do you know that it's one of the only remaining independent global fashion brands, if not the, like in terms of never went public and, you know, never went into the whole corporate, never sold to Kering, you know, like it's literally, I think it's the biggest global brand that's still independent to this day.
Wouldn't be surprised. But that's also what she was about.
Oh, God. An individual, I think, would be an understatement when you're talking about Viv.
Exactly. Just like a rebel to her core, well into her 80s. She was still, you know, poking the bear. She was in on the joke. She's sort of everything you want to be at that age.
Oh, my God. And she was a primary school teacher. I think she was in her 30s before she even started any of this, which is insane. She was a primary school teacher and she met Malcolm McLaren. This sort of kismet thing happened with these two amazing people. 1971, they opened this back of the... So I think it was 430 Kings Road. Have you ever been to the Kings Road stores? World's End.
I've been once.
I actually hate to say that I haven't been. I don't even know how I can say this.
Well, that's fine because now you've got a good excuse to. You've got to make a pilgrimage when you're back home.
I wish I could have gone in its iterations though, because it started off as Let It Rock. That was the first one in 1971.
Yeah.
And it was at the back of 430 Kings Road. And it sold like vinyl and cool, like kitschy stuff. And then I think the next year they changed the name completely to Too Fast to Live, Too Young to Die.
Gosh.
And they said that they didn't want to be tied to any form of like what the brand was, what the name was, or anything they stocked because they were always changing their minds.
Yeah.
So they went straight away from that the next year to sex.
Come on. Absolutely legendary.
Sex caused so much furore.
And, like, imagine nowadays a shop called that would also cause some controversy, right? So imagine the levels back then.
Maybe even more now because we're in this very, like, salionated culture of, like, don't say anything and don't say this and don't flash anything. Like, well, what about back in the 70s when they were flashing everything?
Yeah, exactly. Nipples McGee.
I mean, she was part of the Free the Nip movement.
Before it even happened.
Before it was even a thing.
Do you remember the T-shirts that had it like, you know, like a photocopy?
Breasts.
Exactly.
Yes, so sex was, I think, 70... I want to say it was 74, 75. And then they changed it into seditionaries. And seditionaries was with the muslin tops with the breasts.
Yeah.
They had the Queen of England with a safety pin through her lip.
Yeah.
That, I own that top. The original.
I'm so jealous.
I know. I bought it.
What a piece.
200 quid about, a long time. 15 years, probably 20 years ago, realistically.
Incredible.
Off eBay. Do you know how much those original it was made in 1977. Do you know how much they're worth now? There's muslin tops. They're just like, you don't know what this is. Carrie Bradshaw wore one in Sex and the City. Have you seen? You know the one I mean, don't you? It
like
has
gauzy.
Like the buckle. It's muslin gauze. It has a screen print of Queen Elizabeth. She has like safety. It's basically got the Sex Pistols splattered across it.
Yeah,
and it has like these bondage straps here, and then it has bondage straps here. It's like it's very Vivienne Westwood coded.
Yes.
But yeah, that was Seditionaries, and so it was like she was doing bondage stuff. The trousers, the bondage trousers, of course. You know, right back then, it was all very Sex Pistols coded.
And when you now look at fashion and what's out and what's trending and all of this, right, you would just never see that level of sort of... Actually, no. You sort of see these controversial pieces and these viral pieces come out of somebody like Demna, right?
Yeah, you do.
But for her to be doing this in the 70s...
Right.
And as a woman, even crazier.
Yeah.
And she was so committed to the ethos of the brand. It was always, we're going to be provocative. It was always, we have our ethical morals that we want to stand to. And she was a huge environmentalist. All of the, like, if you were ever worried about your Vivienne Westwood pieces not being ethically made, you never needed to.
Oh, no.
Like,
she was the original environmental activist.
Exactly.
Fashion activist.
And it's sad that I know that she's somebody that would have wanted to see so much progress in those areas in 2026, and there's still so much of those things that we are battling against.
We're not even remotely there.
I know.
But she was out there doing it on her own because...
Yeah.
So right from the start, there was no one else that could even, especially in British fashion, let's talk about British fashion.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else that was doing anything like she was doing back then?
Absolutely not at the time. And to be honest with you, before coming here today, I was thinking about, okay, if we talk about iconic British designers.
Yes.
Right? Not brands. It's Vivienne Westwood and it's Alexander McQueen.
Yeah, we talked about this. I think so. Lee McQueen, well, you have to come back and do McQueen with me.
Oh, I would be honoured.
Because that's another one that there's certain people that I need to have these conversations with, and it's you. Because I know that you know all of your stuff about this. You are so knowledgeable about this.
I would happily come back. But like even back in the day in the 70s, have you seen that clip? It's sort of gone a bit viral now of her designs being laughed at on national television.
So what? Who was laughing at them?
Oh my! I can't remember the TV show, but it was like a talk show that she was invited on, and they had a couple of her pieces, and the studio audience were like laughing at the designs. Oh my God. I mean,
and this was in what, the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like, oh my gosh! And so I can't even imagine. I mean, look who got the last laugh, because Vivienne Westwood is such an iconic brand. It's still so true to itself.
Yes,
and in fashion now, you see so many trends, and there is a way to play into trends that still keeps with the whole vision of the brand. Right? But I don't think as many brands are doing that as that should be.
They're like veering off all over the place.
Oh, exactly. One minute they're quite luxury, the next minute they're maximalism and they don't know what's what and everything else. Vivienne Westwood is the absolute antithesis of that. You know what you're getting every time. It's piratey and like weirdly a little bit costumey.
Very costume.
And you look at a piece and you're not exactly quite sure how it sort of works, but it does on the body. And it just plays into that fantasy of fashion.
Right.
And this element of dressing up in your everyday that just feels like an escape.
And of course, the dressing up collection is probably one of her most famous collections. Autumn Winter 91, 92 was the dressing up collection, the bustle skirts, which I think for people that aren't necessarily fashion people, that's probably the thing that you guys mostly talk to me about. People
the green satin. Please wait. Have you told everybody about your quest to find one?
Oh, the green satin. They know.
Okay. I need to make sure.
Yeah. No. They do send me I got the black one last year. Did you see that I got the black one? I got the black velvet bunny skirt. So, guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, just realise we should probably tell them.
Incredible.
Carrie Bradshaw, season 4 of Sex and the City. She Just Say Yes. She wears a. Is that the first? She wears the 2 in the same episode, I think. Actually, she wears 2 Vivienne Westwood bustle skirts from the 1991 dressing up collection. One is green satin with a taffeta bunny tail. With just a rolled up white shirt. It's from J. Crew.
It's a perfect
It's a J. Crew shirt tucked in to this with a lovely little legs that she's got on her, and then a lovely little pair of blue marine heels. And she wears that skirt, and I think that I would say, as a Sex and the City archivist or whatever, that's the thing that I get most people say. That's the one. That's the outfit.
It also shows you the potential of one Vivienne Westwood piece.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, styling it in such a simple way.
And
just
that's a really,
with a white shirt.
And that's a really hard to wear item because you can't sit down in that thing.
I mean, it's a commitment.
Do you see her when she's sitting in the restaurant and she's perched on the edge of the chair and the little bunny tail is right at the back, and you're like, yeah, because I own the black one in it now.
And you know it's just bare cheeks on the chair.
Butt on chair. I'd have to take a napkin from my sweaty bits. I'd be like, no, I couldn't sit on this leather chair. This would be like not happening. But then she also wears in the same episode, I think it's the same episode, she wears the pink one with the feathers. With the Chloe Stella McCartney top. Another iconic one. People don't ask as much about the pink one as they do the green one. Do you think it's the colour?
I think it's the colour. I would also be interested to see if the green had more screen time. If there was just more time for it to really land for people.
I think it's that iconic. She's walking down the street and she sees the rat. I recreated that scene and it was so fun. Yeah. Because she's looking at that Willa Ford on the wall and then she screams and she twirls around. So I definitely think, in fact, you're right, because the pink one is only seen for a second when she tells Samantha she's engaged. So it is more of a kind of a token. That green one gets all of the screen credit. But that's from the Dressing Up collection, which was, I think most fashion critics would say that was her most, well, it's certainly the most collectible collection of all.
Okay.
I think.
You see, and you'll know more about this than me.
Being someone who tries to find these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything from that collection that is currently, like, actively on your wish list? I'm sure anything, but is there anything that stands out?
No, I mean, I definitely... If I could buy more of the bunny skirts, I definitely would. Although I don't like the ones where the bunny was at the front.
No, and it's got to be at the back.
It's got to be at the back. It just doesn't... I've actually seen them come up for sale and pass them up. I've got... I don't think it was the same collection. No, it could have been the red hot pants with the fur around the bottom of them. That's Sarah Stockbridge. Very famous muse of Vivienne Westwood in the 90s was wearing them. I've got those. It's just... but these are not from that collection. These are another thing.
Those are fantastic.
It's really hard to get Westwood now, especially from especially from that collection. It's the one that just has gone insanely through the roof. I'll tell you a story that's I've got to share this. I don't think I've ever shared this. So I did get the black one this year, but I actually was supposed to get it last year. Found a private collector. Did I tell you the story?
This is the story I know.
I think I did tell you this story, didn't I? I think I told you when we did our closet. Oh my God. I'll tell it quickly just for people who haven't heard it before. The Gaga story. I thought I'd told you because I don't think I told anyone else this story.
Stolen.
But I was supposed to buy it from a private collector, and I phoned him to pay for it with a bunch of other corsets from the same era. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry." He was from up north as well. He was like, "I've sold it all to Lady Gaga." And I was like, "What?" And he literally sold the entire collection to Gaga. So that bitch has got my bustle skirt.
I mean, she stole it right from under you.
And do you know what? What can I do about it? She's got millions of dollars.
And it's Lady Gaga. It's like, I don't know how angry you can be.
I was pretty angry though, you remember?
I know. But also, at least she's somebody that you know will look after it.
Yeah, and obviously we now know that she's a huge Westwood fan, which I could have probably guessed.
Yes.
Because there are some celebrities, aren't there, through history that are very big fans of Westwood.
Gwen Stefani.
It has to be.
Though not as sort of into fashion in the same way that she used to be.
No, funnily enough, she was huge in fashion in the early 2000s.
My gosh. Hollaback Girl, all of that.
I die for those washboard abs.
Don't even. I was just like, gosh, I must have been like a teenager at the time, and I would just like stare up at her in awe, just being like, I just want to be that cool.
Absolutely fucking gorgeous as well.
Oh my
like, the woman with
gosh.
that platinum blonde hair that's never had one little root. Never. Never one root. I heard that she has her hair done every 9 days, you know. I actually heard from a celebrity hairstylist.
God, I'm surprised that there's any left of it.
Yeah,
then.
some sort of technique they use to preserve it. But anyway,
God.
totally off topic. But gorgeous woman.
And I remember she did like an interview or something around that time, and they were talking about like how much her tour makes or something like that. And she said, "Oh, everything I make just goes straight to Vivienne Westwood." And I just remember being like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was just, and that just fit her vibe entirely.
Yeah,
you know, it was that sort of. Stranded on an island, Pirates of the Caribbean-ish, windswept, and
well, it was the new romantic. She really
was.
bought into the pirate collection.
Yeah.
Pirate collection. It was 1980. Yeah, 1981 was the pirate collection.
the pirate boots.
Oh my god. I mean, Kate Moss rocked those for years later.
My gosh.
The pirate collection was responsible for the new romantic movement, which went on to filter into British music. Think about all of those bands, and I'm gonna blank on which ones now, but. I want to say like your Spandau Ballets and stuff in their videos.
Okay,
and they had the big billowing white shirts with open to here with like a really tight pirate pant and some kind of pointed toe. That was all new romantic era that came directly from Vivienne Westwood. That was her.
Yeah. And to have so much influence outside of your direct industry is...
Yes.
That's magic in a bottle. That doesn't happen with the majority of fashion designers.
No,
you know,
and I just don't know whether we've got another Vivienne Westwood. I don't know whether we've ever will.
I mean, we're few and far between. I can't think of anybody who I think is anywhere near that kind of
and a woman as well.
Force of nature.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the buying of vintage Vivienne Westwood pieces. I know when I look on the various sites.
Yeah.
Vivienne Westwood generally, there's not a big pool to pick
really
from.
not. I'm thinking of one very popular resale site that everyone in this country goes on. I'm actually shocked by. I type it in and it's 5 pages.
Yeah.
Which small pages.
Yeah.
I'm like,
half of which is the new stuff.
Yeah, it's not the old stuff.
It's a handful of the vintage Vivienne Westwood stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
Either people have it and don't want to get rid of it.
I think that could be true.
But also, I think production quantities.
Well, I think that certainly something like dressing up collection. I'm gonna go out on a whim and say there was only one of those pink feather bustle skirts.
Well, exactly.
And probably one of the green.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think those were made. I don't think they assumed that people were going to buy them to wear, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it was more like,
a
let's
runway
throw
piece.
this collection out as a runway statement, which will filter into like more wearable pieces. But I don't anticipate that 5,000 women are going to buy the green bustle skirt. Because if that was true, we would see them all the time for sale. We would see them.
Yeah.
Because people always need money. You know, I know collectors who reach out to me and they're like, Dawn, I'm selling that dress. And I'm like, I did not think you would ever sell that dress because it's something huge. But they are, because people need money and people move on. And so if there were more of them, we would have seen them.
Exactly.
And you only ever see the black ones, which tells me that was the one that they put into production.
Yeah.
Because it was black, it was probably easier. They figured that more people would buy it. And you definitely see the black ones come up once a year, maybe here and there, but still getting rarer by the minute.
Yeah.
And do you think people, God forbid, threw these things away? Because they were very whimsical and very dress up.
Yes.
Don't you think that people might have bought it in 1991 and by 96 thrown it in the bin? Charity shopped it?
Oh my gosh. Listen, for all we know, it's stuffed in the back of somebody's closet in the middle of nowhere that doesn't know what it is.
I mean, that's
and keeps it for Halloween. You know, like imagine.
Yeah, and this happens a lot, you know. People don't know what they've got.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a girl, I think she's on TikTok, posted that she got the John Galliano newsprint top with the Dior and the cardigan to match for $190. The person had no idea what they were selling. And she went viral on TikTok because of, because that's an incredible find. She was scrolling through eBay and they hadn't even, because I know you do a lot of work with eBay.
Yeah.
And you always say, I love your videos when you say, search words,
yes,
keywords of what to put in. And you're so right about what you put, like runway.
Yes.
That's been one of my long time search words because it really brings up a lot of great stuff. She just put Dior top. That's it. So you'd have to be searching through every Dior item diligently, and then boom, you see something you could now sell for probably, I think I've seen things like that for like 10 grand.
Oh my gosh.
Easily. I mean, the dress goes for 50 sometimes, usually 200.
So, just got back from Japan, and one of the vintage shops had a case that was John Galliano Dior newspaper print.
Oh.
And they had one of the dresses. It was not the exact Carrie one.
Right.
Very similar, though, for 46,000.
That's how much it equated to in dollars.
Yeah.
Why didn't you buy two? This is what I'm saying. It's like you're never going to get it from an established consigner or anything, because they're going to know what that is.
Exactly.
I mean, you'd have to be crazy not to. But an individual seller who might have gone to the back of their wardrobe, dug it out, that's where you're hitting gold.
The thing with those pieces as well is, okay, so let's say you are somebody that knows the value of this item, okay? And like I remember, I think I've seen it listed on First Dibs for like 70 grand or something. The issue with that is that it's going to stay there and it's going to sit there until maybe, who knows how many years down the line, somebody that's maybe like a celebrity or like, you know, just like somebody really, really rich who's into it.
Someone, someone's very specific.
Yeah, then goes for it.
Yes.
But otherwise, it's just sat there.
It's just sat there. I know.
Looking at you. 71 grand, giving you a little wink through the screen.
And we put it in our watch list, don't we?
Yeah.
Always.
And we visit it every so often.
Just to check it's still there, and of course it's still there. And then there's that one day it comes around, it's gone, and you're like, what the what?
Literally.
No, the dream is over. This has happened to me more times than I can. Like, stuff have come up from Sex and the City that's like 3,500 recently, and I've gone, oh hell no, like no way. And it sells. It sells now because there's this new wave of collectors. They're late to the game.
Yes.
They're late to the game.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was old enough to buy clothes. So I was buying Carrie stuff when I was 17 years old, maybe even younger. Like, I don't even know how I afforded it, but I did it.
Yeah.
So I'm not late to the game. And that's why I own so many key pieces.
Exactly.
You can't buy the key pieces now unless you're prepared to put down serious bank.
Yeah.
You just can't. Which for me is not really the essence of collecting. For me, collecting is getting it for a deal, finding it in a charity shop, finding it from some random place, Beacon's Closet or somewhere in New York. That's for me the kind of like, I can't believe I found this.
But I also think it's the added layer of people now. It's trendy to buy vintage. It's trendy to buy pre-loved pieces and pieces that have this sort of cultural relevance, like Sex and the City, Devil Wears Prada, Gossip Girl, all of these things, right? Yeah. But the key difference then between somebody wanting it just because it was featured in the show is the passion. And for somebody like you, you are passionate about this. You have been passionate about it before it became a trend and all of that. That's where the massive disconnect is.
Huge disconnect. It's frustrating actually, because if you are limited by funds, which most people are these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be realistic. And you are, you're kind of outpriced. It's a shame, because you know what it means to you to get that item and what it will mean to you. Yeah. And that's why I do what I do personally, is recreate the scenes, because I want to share it, because I don't want it to sit in a gilded cage forever. Exactly. Because what's the point? Me putting it on, like these trousers today. They're so tight, I can barely breathe. I have a muffin top. But I want to share them. I want people to see something that's a piece of Westwood history. Yeah. You're wearing Westwood today, aren't you?
I am.
What you got on?
I'm wearing new Westwood. Westwood nonetheless.
I've seen you do a photograph of this before. I'm dyed beautiful.
I love this jacket. I got it from the Vivienne Westwood outlet at Belmont Park.
Holy shit! Stop. Wait. I'll be back. Yeah. There is a Vivienne Westwood outlet.
Okay. It's relatively new. Like, Belmont Park has only been open, I think, just over a year.
I didn't even know there was a Westwood outlet there. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so you know Bicester?
Yes.
They've opened something here called Belmont Park.
So it's the people that run Bicester Village.
Yes.
And Bicester Village, for you guys who are American, Bicester Village is we're both British, obviously, if you didn't figure that out. People think I'm Australian here all the time. I'm not Australian, okay? I'm British. We have a place called Bicester Village in Oxfordshire, which is since
the best.
We've been young people have gone there. I was going to Bicester Village as soon as I was old enough to get on the train and go there.
It's the best outlet in the UK, hands down.
The Asian provocateur outfit that used to be there, then closed down, then came back again. I used to spend a fortune in AP. We'll talk about AP in a bit because obviously that's got the Westwood connection. But, oh my God, so there's an outlet at Belmont Park?
Yes, so it's towards Long Island. Yeah,
right.
You can get on it on the train, and there's a Vivienne Westwood outlet, and it's it's a decent size, and there's lots of stuff in there.
What about prices?
Pricing, general, 30% off, but they do get a lot of stuff in. And then when you go, like, you know, if it's 4th of July or any of these, always go then.
That's the best time to go when they've got, like, buy more, save more.
Exactly, because then you've got extra discount, and then it'll be an extra 50% on top of that or whatever.
You've just given me brand new information that
definitely
thrilled about. Okay, and you have a corset on too, don't you?
Oh yes, I do.
Don't want to make you disrobe.
Oh, no, well, I was like,
strip off and show us what you've got.
If it gets warm or whatever. I've decided to do a little bit of a pirate, a sort of neighbourhood village wench almost, almost look.
I love that look.
Don't you think?
Wenches are us.
I mean, Viv would approve.
Viv would approve.
And then
this
of course
fab.
You've got to.
I said to Cass when I saw her earlier, I've got this necklace, but it's in England in my wardrobe. And when I was trying to get ready today,
got to bring it back.
I was like, God damn it, the one time I need my orb neck. I've owned that orb necklace for years. I love that orb necklace.
And so I bought this, and I bought the 3-strand drop one to wear for my court wedding. Because that one I had to wear Viv.
Yeah.
I had to wear Viv.
Let's talk about weddings.
Yes.
The dress. I mean, the Vivienne Westwood wedding dress.
Viv, because it's such a avant-garde brand, somewhat, it's niche, right?
Very niche.
Yes.
It's not for everybody.
No. And I think that the Sex and the City film must have done absolute numbers for them.
Oh, no doubt, because it bridged the gap
it made it
mainstream.
Yes.
And also that gown, while very distinctively Viv, also was poofy enough to be. It kind of was verging into a Diana Emmanuel, like the Emmanuels, kind of the train of it certainly. And then you've got the Viv corset at the top, and you've got the amazing points.
And in that taffeta, like,
did you like it? Did you like the whole look?
The whole look was a bit much for me.
Yeah, I thought it was very severe. I thought that there was a lot. It was a lot of makeup,
and of course we've got the bird.
The bird for me took my attention away from the Viv dress.
Yes,
I think I would have wanted to see what you just said, new romantic. I think I would have wanted to see long flowing hair.
I would have
very light,
like season 1 hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That because
soft.
Yes, it's that juxtaposition of something so like the dress in it is the most sort of Viv interpretation of something prim and proper, right? Like you said, it's poofy, it's a sort of cupcakey kind of wedding dress. With then this undone hair would have just been the most like perfect.
It would, wouldn't it? I just think it would have. I think for me, I didn't like the whole look. I didn't love it.
Yeah. What shoes was she? Oh, she wore the Dior, the Extremes.
She wore. Did you see me try those on?
Yes.
Yeah, so Pat has... So people think... This is really funny, right? You'll see this in the documentary I'm doing soon that will be released. I always thought it was the gold python Extremes that she was wearing in that scene. Yeah. It's not. So Pat customized a pair of them and covered them with crystals, so they look from a distance they look gold.
Yeah,
I tried the exact shoes on, and I ran down the street in the Lower East Side with Pat. Yeah, and I was like, I'm running in Carrie's wedding shoes, and I was doing the whole the recreation of the wedding scene. But yeah, they're the Extreme Gladiators, but customized. Pat customized them, so they're not actually they're not the gold ones that I always thought they were. But yeah, I mean, I loved the wedding dress. I saw that on Vestiaire Collective about 2 years ago, and it was actually not that expensive, and now I don't think you could find that for a...
Well, obviously Vivienne Westwood bridal is a massive thing now, and I would even, to be honest with you, I would probably say that most people know it more from bridal. I'm talking like people who aren't into fashion that much.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think
that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I think it's become a bit of a go-to bridal brand. Like, obviously, if you're spending a lot on... I think that's a big part of it.
Because I don't even know if I can reference a time that I saw a Vivienne Westwood wedding dress other than this time.
Yeah. And then, actually, last year, Charlie XCX.
Got married in?
Yeah, she did her courthouse wedding. She was in like a little mini white one.
Gorgeous.
But it's like, yeah, they've definitely built it out as like I'm sure it's a massive part of the business.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yeah. I thought so I wore Vivienne Westwood for my courthouse, and then I went for like the full experience to see if I wanted to do it for like my proper wedding, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is like it's the most magical, you know, here are all of them, and then they give you the golden, you know, the little paw shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to try on with them and all of this. And they had a couple of couture pieces.
Oh,
and I
wow.
was like, let me have a try. Now, 30,000 was a bit out of my budget.
Oof.
Yeah, but nonetheless, beautiful.
Dare I say, not that bad for a couture Vivienne Westwood wedding dress.
Well, exactly. And then also, I mean, they can really take it to the ends of the earth for you. They can create your own personal lace to
Was
be
this in
used
England or
throughout.
here?
This was in London.
Okay.
Yeah. They can, you know, have whatever you want embroidered into it.
Heaven.
Like, oh my gosh, the absolute ends of the earth that they can go to create just the
I feel
perfect.
like it's worth every penny. If you can
Yeah.
stretch to it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could like split payment it or something. Zip.
Yes. How much many monthly payments
They
over
really should
a
let us do
20-year
that.
period?
Oh, but so you didn't do it for the main wedding, but you did it for the courthouse wedding.
Yes, yeah. And I wore a yellow one that now they...
I remember seeing it.
Yes, yeah. I think now it's like on My Teresa or whatever, and you can get it. But there is nothing that makes you feel the way a Vivienne Westwood corset makes you feel.
Oh, absolutely. I own a number of... They're all at home for some reason. All my Westwood is in
Bring
England.
them back, Dawn.
Have you seen my... What are you saying? You've seen my cupboards here. There's no room.
Okay, good point.
I have to keep some of the stuff, and the Westwood just like today when I was coming to dress for this, and I was going to wear these, but I was like, where's all my Westwood hooded tops and stuff? And I had one, and I was like, they're all at home.
Yeah.
All my Westwood is in England. Maybe it lives there because it's English. I don't know.
Close to her heart.
Yeah, but there is something so distinctive that if someone, especially for us fashionistas,
Yeah.
you can spot Westwood a mile off.
Oh.
If you see someone walking down the street, you know.
Yeah.
You know it's Westwood.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think, aside from the whole Balenciaga, Gucci slogan deal,
Yeah.
where everyone's like, I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Westwood is very much the opposite of that, apart from the orb, of course.
Yes, yeah, but the cuts are so undeniable.
Right.
Like the way the corsets look. There are so many brands that do corsets now, all of that. None of them look the same way a Vivienne Westwood corset looks.
No, it's a very distinctive silhouette.
Yeah, even like... You can get the most simple piece. I have a few of her Hebo tops, which are like, they're sort of a bit skew-whiff T-shirts,
Yes.
weirdly asymmetrical, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even understand the pattern that could have been created. Like, it doesn't make sense.
To get to that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the coolest white T-shirt that you can find.
That's right.
But that's the thing, is that even the most basic thing, they're going to take it there and they're going to do draping in a way that you haven't seen it done. And,
Yep.
you know, just like a simple black dress, the way that it nips in perfectly at the waist. Like, it's
Right.
the tailoring is so feminine.
Yeah.
And you can tell that this is a brand that was created by a woman, you know?
Absolutely. But what I love about it is that, so when she sort of parted ways with Malcolm McLaren, I think it was around 80, I want to say like 84, she started to do her own thing, which is where this all came in. And she was really inspired by Savile Row tailoring.
Yeah.
And so she really went down this route, but she was also rooted in traditionalism and subversion. So that's where these sexy corsets come in, because they are based on Victorian corsets, but they've got this twist
Yeah.
that's so Westwood.
Yeah.
And that's where this amazing aesthetic came from. Not to say that the early 70s and 80s stuff isn't fabulous, because it is. But it was really when she went out on her own and started to create those sort of silhouettes that it became a signature.
That's the thing. It's the Viv that we know today.
Yes.
And even the patterns that she uses and all of that, you know, you'll see these sorts of moments from paintings or, you know, pieces that look like tapestry.
Yes.
Everything feels a little bit historical or rooted in,
Very
you know,
historical.
Victorian design and stuff like that. but made in a way that you can wear it today on a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, because she did, one of her other famous collections was the Mini Crinny collection, 1985.
Okay.
And all she did was she merged 1800s crinoline skirts in with mini skirts, made them sexy.
Yeah.
And apparently she sold them from the so when the boutique stopped being sex and then seditionaries, it became World's End.
Yeah.
Which is to this day still World's End.
Yeah.
She was selling the Mini Crinny collection. Her mom was selling them out of there. Her mom was in there selling the Mini Crinnies, and they were like these little tutu-esque mini crinolines. But it was very much this idea of like 1800s.
Yes.
But you can see your butt. So very sexy. You
Listen,
know,
we're going back to the wench. It's the wench of it all.
I think she was very wenchy.
Yeah, she was.
That's not really a word, but in the most fabulous way.
Yeah.
What about when she flashed the Queen? See, this is the wenchiness of it all.
You see, like, nobody... Who else?
Who else? So she gets an OBE, right? She becomes Dame Vivienne Westwood.
Yeah.
And she wears no knickers. And she does a twirl for the press so that everyone can see that she's not wearing any knickers.
Yeah.
Is that not the most iconic thing you've ever heard of in your life? To meet the Queen.
Yeah.
The Queen of England. It's genius.
It's like... I don't even have the words, because that is a level of... Listen, we're talking about iconic things.
Right.
That is iconic in its existence.
There's so many moments with her that are iconic.
Exactly.
Her, and then
The
what
things that
about
she's
the
created.
thing that she's created, and the people that walked. What about Naomi Campbell?
There we go, the famous fall.
I would say that in terms of pop culture,
Yeah.
that's what everybody knows, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
She's in 9-inch
Yeah.
purple croc platforms.
I
Naomi
love
Campbell.
those shoes.
She's walking. You
Buckles
I could
up the
see, I
front.
could see you wearing those.
Yeah, yeah.
She's walking in the Cafe Society. I think it was 1993 runway show, and goes arse over tip.
Yeah.
Apps, and she's like
And
a
has a
big,
good giggle.
She's like a big daddy long legs. Her
Yeah,
big old
like a
legs.
gazelle. Yeah.
They're all spread out. I mean,
Yeah.
if I fell over like that, I'd be much more a Carrie Bradshaw flat on my face, like stop taking my fucking picture, you know, that kind of thing. Naomi Campbell is just because she's fallen over and she sits on her ass and
Yeah.
she just laughs.
Yeah.
And it's iconic.
Yeah. Also because that is the embodiment of the brand.
Yes.
Like, that is
Fun,
the...
playful.
Exactly. It's not that serious. It knows
Right.
it's not that serious. And it's like, in the face of luxury fashion that is so prim and proper and everything's buttoned up and all of that, you've got no knickers on to meet the Queen.
Perfect.
And, you know, people are toppling over on your runway and having a good giggle at
And
it.
it becomes a moment that's...
Yes.
And it doesn't take away from the clothes.
At all.
In fact, I'm sure that sales of those platforms went through the roof.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how many of those they sold.
Has one.
But I mean, those iconic. But in the same runway show, Kate Moss, topless, eating a Magnum. So she goes down the runway. I think she's just got a pearl necklace on, topless, and I think she's got like a little mini skirt or something. She's sucking a Magnum ice cream. And she's topless, same collection.
I mean, if there is an ice cream to go on to eat down the runway
in
no
1990,
better.
what was it, 94 or something like that? I think it was the early 90s.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was 94. I mean, it's just another iconic moment.
You can't manufacture those now.
People have tried, haven't
Yes.
they? And people. This is the thing with social media now.
Yeah.
And we're a part of it, but it's all people trying to engineer.
Yeah.
You know, these little gags on runway shows to try and get sort of the same, even a slice of that level of scrutiny, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's like lightning in a bottle again. It's that you cannot foresee that that's going to happen.
Exactly.
And then it happens and you're just like, well, that's forever going to be remembered. And every part about that is remembered. And that's just not something... I just don't remember. This is why I'm so obsessed with that era.
Yeah.
Because that era was just moment after moment. Westwood and Galliano at Dior, Dolce's early collections in that era, Stella for Chloe, my personal favourite. Those are moments that made you go...
It's the stuff that makes you excited.
And I just don't get excited anymore about runway shows.
Yeah.
I just haven't got excited about a show for a really long time. And that's where Vivienne's shows were just like, you knew you were getting a treat.
Well, I feel like it again, it comes back to that level of like, everybody says this word now, but authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And I think people use that towards individuals, but I think it's to do with the brands as well, because Vivienne Westwood was the brand, is Viv, and that was, they knew exactly who they were. Every time you were getting it, it was these moments, it was, you know who the Vivienne Westwood girl is.
Yeah, you do.
And there's too many brands, basically not being original. And trying to manufacture these moments and whatever. And, okay, it gets people talking for 2 days, and then what?
Forget about it. Whereas we're still talking about that thing that happened. How many years ago is that? 30 years ago. And we're still talking about it. And people will still talk about that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We're not getting legends anymore, I don't think. There's not really any legends. Whereas she was an earlier adopter of these, because Viv was pre Tom Ford at Gucci and Galliano at Dior. We're talking way before that. When they all came out, she just started with Anglomania, which was another total pivot, because Anglomania, do you agree, was the wearable version of these designs? Yeah,
and there was, I think, at its sort of peak at all of the labels, it was Gold Label that was couture, really. Yeah. Then there was Red Label, Anglomania.
It was entry level.
Yes.
Like the price point was, I remember getting it from like Harvey Nicks and Selfridges,
Of course,
it was, and I have many I own. But actually these are Anglomania. Now this is crazy, because you would feel like these were way more vintage than that. These were one of the early Anglomania pieces.
Yeah. And just because it was like the entry level label didn't mean that you were getting a sort of watered down version of the brand.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. Do you have a favourite, because that just reminded me of mine, do you have a favourite Vivienne Westwood piece from any era? Like just one piece that you maybe you don't own it, or you just something that you just like, I just love that.
Okay. So there's one corset, there's the kiss corset.
Okay, describe it to me.
It's got like the two people kissing on the front of it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that one is just, it's beautiful. It's sort of, hang it in the Louvre. It's a work of art, all of that. But in terms of something that I own, well, my mum has this incredible top. It's a green, like a Tinkerbell green taffeta, right?
I'm already into it.
Yeah, and it's got like a lovely iridescence to it.
Wow.
And it's sleeveless, but of course, as with Viv, it's got all these beautiful folds, and it's just like a tiny little, almost waistcoaty top.
Wow.
And when I put that top on, it just makes me feel like I am the evolved being of myself.
Oh,
and and that's the sort of magic of fashion where it doesn't feel like clothes.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm putting on a jumper,
right,
or any pair of jeans.
It transforms.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, can you send me a photo of that? I need to see.
Wait, what's your favourite piece that you own?
Well, I don't own it, and I it just pisses me off that I can't find this thing. And everyone who's watching this, who's a Sex and the City fan, is going to go, yes. My favourite outfit from Sex and the City is also my favourite Vivienne Westwood piece. Okay. It is the grey, hooded, backless wrap top that she wears when Berger she gets the post-it note, and she is in this, she's in bed, in the bar is called Bed, and it's like a smoky grey. It's Anglo, it's not, I don't think it's Anglo, but it looks very Anglomania. Yeah. And it has this huge hood. It's totally backless, and it's a wrap. It's a top, but it could be a mini dress, a push, I guess. She wears it with tiny little white pedal pushers. Really weird choice. And it's my favourite outfit from the show, just because of the Vivienne Westwood.
And they're not around, like...
Never found it. Never seen it. Never heard of anyone finding it. Yeah. Never seen any reference to it. Have seen it on the runway. Know that it exists. And I have the dress version of it with the hood. Which so I have the dress. But the backless wrap top, no, never seen it. And I would die for that. Yeah. That's my number one Sex and the City piece and Westwood piece. It's just so fabulous. And I would wear the shit out of that. Yeah. Because it's so wearable. Like, and you know, and it's got a hood. I love that journey for me. Like, I do have a lot. I've gravitated over the years to a lot of her Westwood pieces with hoods because of that look. Yeah. And I know that many people want to find that. That's another really asked for piece. So I think that's my, and obviously the green skirt we talked about, the green bunny skirt would be a dream. But There's loads of Westwood pieces that I would love to own, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think you could have a bad one.
Oh, no. No, I mean, and there's the range of wearability is wide, but either way, it's a piece of art.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's our favourite pieces. Did you have a piece that Carrie wore in Sex and the City that you loved? I mean, there's loads. I wrote a list.
Yeah. Jog my memory.
I wrote a massive list. So we've
Tell
got the
me.
wedding dress we talked about, the
Yeah.
hoodie we talked about,
Yeah.
Seditioners we talked about, which is the original 70s top that she wears. The pinstripe suit when she goes to Vogue, when she works at Vogue. That one is very popular. I own that suit in navy blue. Had it from New. Yeah, and it's gorgeous, but the way that little pinstripe that fits her, and she puts the cameo brooch
I know.
on it.
Oh.
That's the touch, isn't it? That little Pat Field touch, because you really don't need to do a lot with that suit.
At
She's
all.
wearing nude pumps because it's about the suit.
Yeah.
She's got the cropped hair,
Yeah.
and then she's just got the cameo brooch, and I think that one is incredibly wearable, and I do
Yes.
believe that to this day, sales of Vivienne Westwood suits will always be through the roof because of that.
Yeah.
Because people are like, I just want to look like Carrie Bradshaw walking into Vogue.
Don't we all?
And then she wears a grey one at the end of that episode too, and she's got like a little Victorian handkerchief tucked in the pocket of it. It's a very similar suit from Westwood, but a bit softer of a silhouette.
Okay.
I'll take either of those.
Yeah.
These fringe pants,
Yeah.
these are very, very rare and like popular. People love these.
Yeah.
You have to lie down on your bed to get into these pants, and like
We do what we have to.
there's muffin top going on under here, as I said. This is why I'm wearing this long top. The flag dress. So the flag dress was worn at the rehearsal dinner for Charlotte when she marries Harry. And Carrie's wearing the original vintage flag dress, which was from, I can't remember the collection, but that is extremely covetable. Those flag dresses.
That is incredible. Like, that to me is... I think that's my favourite.
That one, and it's not really, a lot of people don't even know that's Westwood. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah.
It's so like, and she kind of has it, typical Carrie, like this, off the shoulder.
Yeah.
I love that. The gladiator sandals that she wears on the front cover of Sex and the City 2.
These shoes, my mum got them.
I was going to wear mine today, but
I mean, I told you this when I did your wardrobe. When my mum got these shoes, listen, we all look up to our mums and you know, they're just our mums. And then
Right.
sometimes they do things when you're like, oh my gosh, you are an absolute icon and a queen.
Yeah.
And that was when my mum bought these shoes. I was like, oh my gosh.
did she wear them?
Yes. And she lent them to me for like, I think it was like a dance I had at school or
Oh my,
something.
your mum's so cool. You're
honestly.
the best like fashion mom ever.
But like, what a waste on the other 17-year-old kids that had no idea what was happening.
Not a clue. And they're just,
And I'm just here rattling
they're
away.
They do rattle.
Yeah.
They're so tall, and they have an incredibly high arch.
Yeah,
So
and
much
they're
so that your
wide.
toes splay over the front of them. Because I put them on to wear today, and I was like, no, because my toes are on show. Y'all going to be looking at my toes going, what's happening? Because like Miranda in Sex and the City
trotters around.
always had toes going over the front.
Yeah.
I can't explain to you why these shoes do this. I've got quite dainty little feet. I will have you know. I'm not a big-footed person.
I think it's because they're cut so wide.
I think they are.
So there's nothing holding you
No.
in. And so you've just got to...
And I looked
there's
at
only one
Carrie
way
in
out.
the movie, same thing.
There
and
you
she's
go.
got delicate little feet too,
Yeah.
7.5s. Her toes are over the front too. It's just something
Hanging
about them.
on
So
for
as
dear
amazing
life.
as they are,
Yeah.
not the most practical.
Not the most practical.
They're more of a kind of sit and have a photo taken and just look
Yes.
fabulous.
But I love the styling of those shoes with the wispiness of the dress on the...
Oh, the Poochie dress and the Margiela blazer.
Like that just billowing in the wind, and then the
Incredible.
straps of the shoes.
And that's what Westwood
that
was all about, wasn't it?
hard edge.
Those are very bondage.
Yes.
Very bondage,
Yeah.
very sexy. And that outfit was, because Sarah Jessica Parker's got some boobs. Like they were
Yeah.
like spilling over the top of that dress. Then you've got that kind of edgy sort of bondage thing. It's sexy. And that's
Yeah.
no coincidence that she runs into Aidan. And it's the date with Aidan.
Yes.
Bit of an extramarital thing going on
Yeah.
potentially. So she wears this like really sexy look. It's really, but she's totally covered up. She's wearing a
Yeah.
blazer, she's wearing a long dress.
Yeah.
But there's so many sexy elements to that. I've got a really good one. The leopard suitcases. So 1997.
Okay.
Vivienne Westwood designs these pink leopard print hard suitcases. The ad campaign was a stack of this luggage. And they're hard, like Louis hard ones.
Yeah.
And there's vanity cases. There's some soft bags, but they're mostly structured.
Okay.
Carrie has a full set of those. So when she moves to Paris in season 6,
Oh my god!
when she goes on the train to see Big in the book for the book signing, she's got her luggage, her pink leopard luggage. Those are insanely expensive to buy. The vanity case goes for about 3,000 to 4,000. Oh my god! 1997. That was I think it was her first foray into luggage.
Well, because Viv as a brand is not that well known for like small leather goods, bags, and all of that.
Yeah.
It's a ready to wear brand at its core.
Yeah.
And so that's so interesting.
Yeah, those are one of the most covetable Vivienne Westwood pieces, and it's not even a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
Actually, what was your first Vivienne Westwood purchase? Do you remember? Because you just triggered what mine was. Because mine was the bowling bag, the plaid bowling bag. Oh, with the big orb on the front.
Yeah,
Everybody,
yeah,
I think I got
yeah.
it from Bicester Village. Went down to Vista Village, just like get myself a little bowling bag because you had to have
What
one.
a British experience.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
Do you remember what the first thing you bought was from Westwood?
I think that it was... Vivienne Westwood did a collaboration with Melissa Shoes.
Oh, she really did. And I just say that those are my crack. The smell of those things, that's my crack.
They smell fantastic. And it sounds weird when you tell people the smell of these rubber shoes is fantastic. They smell like the juiciest, sweetest bubblegum.
Or so this, whenever I say, on my live streams, whenever I've been doing a fashion live stream from somewhere with those shoes.
Yeah.
At Century 21, I used to do it. I've been known to stand and sniff them on a live stream.
You have to.
And people would be like, oh, Dawn's at it again with the Melissa shoes.
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, they smell like rubbers. And they'd all be like, what? And I'd be like, you know rubbers? Because you know what a rubber is.
Yeah.
So a rubber is an eraser. Is an eraser in England. So when I was a kid, when I was very little, I used to collect rubbers.
The little pink ones?
The pink, like the ones that had like shaped like birds or creatures or all sorts. I still have them to this day in a bag in my house. And I loved the smell. I was addicted to the smell. I would just sit in my bedroom at like 8 years of age smelling these rubbers. They're my crack. So then when Melissa came out, if you've never smelled a Melissa shoe, oh my God.
Run. It smells like bubblegum to me.
I could smell it all day long.
I know.
It's heaven.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, she did a collaboration with Westwood.
Yes, she did. And whilst the normal person might have bought the cute little peep toe with the orb at the front and all of that, I instead bought these ones that were sort of like... they were those... based off of the Japanese wooden shoes that she did, you remember?
I've got the rocking horse shoes.
Yes.
I own a pair.
But all gold plastic, right? Massive platforms, sandals at the front with wings at the ankle, like Hermes.
Babe, these sound extremely involved.
I don't...
Special, some might say.
And the thing is that I'm like, I know they're at home. I don't know where they are.
You've got to find them.
I've got to find them.
We need to see.
I've got to find them.
Me and you need to go back to England.
Yes,
and we need to raid
pilfer.
because I've got a pair of rubber Melissas from Vivienne Westwood that are basically a very good dupe for the Gladiator sandals, but they're a closed toe, and they go so the straps go. About to here, but definitely was clearly based on that. And I don't know where the hell they are, but I have not seen those in years. But I used to wear them, but they weren't massively comfortable because your feet used to sweat like a bitch and everything. It's like that's just rubber. You were sliding all around the place. But they were, in theory, they were comfortable because they were rubber. But so that was your entry point into the Westwood brand. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is why collaborations are really important for brands because they open up the brand to customers that that maybe a little bit younger that wouldn't necessarily know about it, and all of a sudden they segue into becoming Westwood aficionados. You know what I mean? After starting with a crazy ass shoe that you bought. But you mentioned the rocking horse shoes. I own those. That was another really famous Westwood shoe. So they are, if you don't know them.
I can't believe you've got these.
Yeah, I was going to sell them, because I'm never going to wear them because I can't walk. I'm sorry, I just can't be walking in.
I mean,
they
yeah,
are a
it's-
block of wood.
Yeah.
And they're called the rocking horse shoe because they don't have the heel and the tip don't touch the floor, so they rock.
Yeah.
Can you believe I did a recreation from Sex and the City wearing those on the rooftop of my building? And you've been to my building, and
Yeah.
the roof has like a wall about this big, and I was right next to it, and somebody commented, "Are you mad?
Yeah,
You're wearing
yeah,
those shoes
yeah, exactly.
next to the wall on the roof." And I was like, "Yeah, that wasn't the smartest move." But I didn't want to walk down the street in them, but I wanted to do the video.
Yeah.
But no, I'll probably keep them. I actually picked them up
You
from
have
Beacon's
to.
Closet for $89 in Greenpoint. Yeah, I just saw them and was like, "Oh, they're cool." And then kind of then looked into the history of them.
Yes,
Because at the end of the day, you and me I'd say we're quite expert on the subject of Vivienne Westwood. But if the stuff even I don't know,
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
You know, I'll come across them and can be like, oh, and I'll Google it, be like, oh, wow, these are really rare. These are actually huge part of culture at the time.
Yeah.
You know, fashion culture was the rocking horse shoe was huge.
But I think again, it's that like this was a brand that did limited quantities, so
Oh,
you're
yes.
always going to be finding out about things that weren't that massively publicized because there just weren't many of them around.
Yeah. I think we're used to seeing the promotional stuff, which I would class as
Yes.
like the jewelry, the costume jewelry.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's experience of the brand,
Yeah.
especially in the UK.
Because it's mass produced.
Yeah.
And it's now really got a really good resale value, you know, now. It's definitely
Price point's decent as well.
price point is
Yeah.
decent. And then the bowling bags, you know, the
Yeah.
plaid,
Yeah.
those that were very entry level. You know, not everybody could afford to go and buy, you know, a corset and
Yeah.
a bustle skirt.
And now there's no. It's Vivienne Westwood or Vivienne Westwood by Andreas Krohn-Thalner, her husband.
Yes.
Which is now the couture line.
Right, okay, got it.
But yeah, or bridal. There's no other differentiation now.
Yeah, it's interesting how that
Yeah.
went, because Gold Label was a thing for a while, but then
Yes.
it just went to it kind of went out of the window.
Yeah.
But let's talk about her son for a second.
Ah,
so, I mean,
agent
now,
provocateur.
yeah, so I've been a big AP fan for as long as I can remember. I own more AP underwear than most boutiques carry, but I wear none of it. Because it's sexy.
so,
I mean,
yeah,
I do wear their bras. I have wore their bras for years, but most of it just sits there lovingly,
Looking beautiful.
looking beautiful.
I mean, it's a commitment, a lot of the looks.
Yeah, but it's also so coded to Vivienne Westwood.
Oh, I mean, it's all of those little bondage details.
Oh,
and,
huge.
you know, it's a bra that upon first inspection looks like, oh, this looks like a normal, beautiful bra. And then, oh, actually, it's not got anything for your nipples.
No, it's
just got holes there.
Yeah,
you know.
It's perfect. It's very functional.
Yeah.
And,
Does the job.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
I love AP. And for those of you that don't know, AP it was conceived by Vivienne Westwood's son.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things about this is that she designed the uniforms for the Westwoods for the AP staff.
I don't remember the last time I went into an AP store. My question is, do they still wear the outfits?
I don't know, because
we need to
I
find
own
this
so
out,
much that I
because
don't
they've
ever
got
need
one
to
in
buy anymore.
Soho. We need to go and we need to do boots on the ground journalism, Dawn, and we need to.
So also, what might interest you is I own two of those. I own the black one, the manager's one, and the shop girl one. I do, and you won't believe.
How did you get those?
Beacon's Closet. So, right, I'm going to tell people who are watching who don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Oh my God.
So her son opens AP, heavily influenced by his mom. So as we've talked about, the underwear is sexy. It has those kind of like subversive details. So he turns to his mom and says, you need to design the uniforms for these staff. And I will say that they are probably the most sexy uniforms you will ever find in any place forever.
Yeah.
So they're these cute little like waitress looking.
I always sort of saw them as like sexy nurse.
Sexy nurse,
Yeah.
sexy waitress from the 50s.
Yeah.
It's kind of that vibe. They're like a little collared shirt dress, very fitted.
Yeah, mini.
Worn always with stockings and suspenders. So you
Yes.
had to wear it when
And
you
you would
had
see
to.
that,
You
yeah.
had to see. So they were short enough so that you saw that it was stockings. The managers wore black ones in like this sort of waffle fabric, and the shop girls wore the pink ones.
Yeah, baby pink.
And then here's the catch. Because it was designed by Westwood and they were given for free, they had to sign a contract that said they were would not be allowed to resell it, to gift it or anything.
Okay.
And they would be sued if they did. And they did used to sue people for doing it. So it was very hard to find them on eBay and stuff. And if they did go up, you'd see it removed immediately.
Okay,
because the legal team would have spotted it and gone, nope. And that person would get a letter in the post being like, you've just broken this clause.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. I found 2 in Beacon's closet here for $45. Different. I found one and then I found another one.
Oh my gosh!
So I have them both. I was going to wear one today, and I was like, I don't know. People are going to be like, what? But I would know, and you would know. I mean, those are some covetable uniforms.
Wait, now I've got one more thing to add to my eBay watch list. Now I need to ferret.
I think we can find you one. I've actually seen another one and not bought it. Next time I see one, do you want me to grab you one?
Please.
Yeah, because that is. I actually, years back when I was in luxury fashion, I had an interview to manage an AP store, and I went, and all I wanted to do was get the job so I could have the uniform.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the job. I just wanted the uniform. I just wanted the black dress that everyone would know that I was the sexiest top of the mavens in the store.
Yeah.
Like I was the boss.
It's such an iconic uniform. How crazy is it that a brand's retail uniform is this iconic?
Well, I mean, and I think it's probably the most iconic uniform in terms of it sits because it brings fashion into it.
And the thing is I have simply not thought of that since maybe my early 20s. And the moment you brought it up, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And now I'm like, I need one.
You need one.
Oh, what? Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Talking of shop girls, do you know that Chrissy Hind and Bella Freud were shop girls at the original
World's End?
I think it was at World's End because I'm trying to think whether they would have been there before that, but right at the start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right at the start of World's End.
I mean,
they were shop girls there. Chrissy Hind, legend.
Yeah.
And Bella Freud, legend. It girl, like amazing designer.
Imagine the stories.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit whenever I read about it, about like Pat's store. So Pat Field's store on the Bowery.
The characters.
That it was so well known for being anyone's welcome here, and the weirder the better, and the
Club
more subversive.
kids.
Yeah, anyone come if you are anyone who's different, come here.
Yeah.
And I think it must have been incredible because World's End. When you went there, did it have the galleon floor and it's slightly tilted?
You know what? It's been a long time that I don't even have.
So when they designed, because they just used to continually redesign based on whatever it was. So when it was sex, it was all about sex.
Yeah.
Do you know that when sex was opened, apparently the punks used to have to be escorted by police escort from Sloane Square Tube to the shop. Yeah. It's you can't make this stuff up. Like, and it was. Gosh. I remember I think there was like protests about it. Huge. Yeah. Because people were just, like, how dare you be so open
it's immoral.
About sex?
Yes,
no sex, please. We're British.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
That whole slogan. Mm-hmm. And there was this woman who was just putting it all out there. Yeah. Totally putting it all out there, and like she didn't give a fuck. Yeah. Like she was. Like, didn't she appropriate Margaret Thatcher on the front cover of Tatler? Yes. Now wait, is Tatler even still going?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry, Tatler, that I don't know that. Like, I feel like that was such a moment. I feel like Tatler was such a moment.
Do you want to know why? You're allowed a pass because Tatler's not in the US.
Okay, so so I wouldn't have seen it for the past 10 years.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Like Tatler, I think, is only in the UK and Singapore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she was on the front cover dressed as Margaret Thatcher. As a kind of activism moment of protesting it. I don't know if she was just taking the piss just for fun. I don't really remember. I don't know.
And that's the thing about her. Like, it could have been either way, and it still had an impact. Did you know that there's been a bit of a rift in the family?
Okay, so I kind of knew about this, maybe.
It's
refresh
not
me.
been all that publicised. So I think it's been over, last year.
Is this after she passed, right?
Yes. So last year, and I think her granddaughter has been sort of one of the main sort of forces behind it. But basically, what seems to have happened, I should have read up on this to brush myself off before this, but essentially, the family have now spun off the Vivienne the Vivienne Foundation.
Right.
Which is using her archives for like activism and putting out, like promoting the causes that she was really passionate about and all of this. And essentially they've sort of, I think, somehow walked away or are not in the daily workings of the brand.
Oh.
And the brand are almost like licensing.
Oh, God, that's just going to go nowhere good.
So I don't know if they're in an active court sort of battle about it, but there is something going on.
This is what happens when you lose the pioneer of a brand.
Yeah.
So, like, because she was such a force of nature that she was never going to have anyone, I think, tell her what she did
at all,
or in any way. She kept her brand independent.
Yeah,
she did whatever she wanted to do. She said whatever she wanted to do. She designed whatever she wanted to design. She changed her mind like the wind. She didn't care. So I think she's gone. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, then you start to see the infight, and then you start to see the thing. I mean, I thought it was weird when they auctioned off all of her clothes a couple of years ago.
Kerry Taylor auctions.
Yes, yeah. I actually bought something from Kerry Taylor the other day. I got Carrie Bradshaw's Zandra Rhodes caftan that she wears when she first meets Alexander Petrovsky at the gallery. She's wearing a one-shoulder caftan. I actually got the same caftan but different colour, and I got it from Kerry Taylor in London. I literally just arrived yesterday. That's so weird that you said that. But yes, so they auctioned so many of her archive clothes. And Sarah Jessica Parker bought one and wore it in and just like that. So do you remember, did you watch And Just Like That? Do you remember when she's at the Lincoln Centre and she walks down by the pool at the Lincoln Centre and she's wearing this incredible ice blue corset dress?
Oh my gosh.
And she's got it's gorgeous. That was Vivienne's personal dress. Vivienne was wearing it on the runway in the 90s, I think it was.
Oh my God. And she got it from the auction.
Sarah Jessica bought it from the auction.
The other thing that I love about this sort of culture around Sex and the City, and Sarah Jessica Parker particularly, is the intertwining between the styles of Carrie and Sarah Jessica.
Right.
Because it's very rare that the actress playing the role or whatever is that entwined in the styling.
Right.
And
very rare.
And also has such a passion for it that they would buy a piece like this to wear it in the show, you know?
Absolutely. Well,
and to own
she's
generally.
a huge Vivienne Westwood fan.
Yeah.
But then we know that because when I wrote the list down, I didn't even get halfway through it. There are so many more examples I could give you of when she wore it in the show. That I think if I was to add it up, it was the most worn brand, probably apart from Manolo. The accessories, basically. Yeah. But in terms of clothing, Vivienne Westwood far and away was worn more than any other brand in Sex and the City. And that has to be because she personally loved it.
Yeah.
The fact that they chose her wedding dress to be Vivienne Westwood is
what
really tells you of how important it was for her.
Yeah.
And
and it's also the re-wearing of the wedding dress in the final season.
Right, she wears it again, which is amazing. I think it definitely needed a second showing.
Yeah.
I feel like all that stuff needs a second showing. I want to know if Sarah Jessica has got the green bunny skirt. Because I'm not sure, because with and I know that like the Galliano Dior dress was a loaner.
Yes.
So it had to go back to Dior.
From your conversations with Pat, have you brought up the bunny skirt?
Pat is she's a bit like Vivienne Westwood, right?
Okay, yeah.
Pat moves on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's kind of like, I did that thing.
Yeah.
But what am I doing today? You know what I mean? I do think she has that very similar Westwood sensibility, which was very much like, I'm on to the next thing now.
Yeah.
And I think that Westwood and McLaren did that together. And then Westwood did it on her own.
Yeah.
And yes, she did stay within the brand aesthetic, but it was always different.
Yeah.
It was always something different.
And I also wonder, this might be me reaching now, but I wonder if the use of a lot of Vivienne Westwood pieces in Sex and the City for Carrie in particular was a sort of tethering between kind of what both women represent.
Right.
Because Vivienne Westwood is designing for the woman who is making decisions for herself, who isn't, adhering to, a traditional timeline of,
Correct.
Being married and having kids by this age and all of that. And I wonder if that was... another layer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think a good costume designer does use those vehicles to tell that story. And it definitely does. And it's interesting that they chose Westwood for very seminal moments in the show. So she wears Westwood when she's fully independent. She's had to get a job.
Yeah.
Well, we've not known this girl to really have a job for all these years.
And somehow she amassed $40,000 worth of shoes.
Yeah, and she has like 15 baguettes and always a new one. One gets robbed and then she gets it again. And all of a sudden she has to get a job. She's wearing Westwood. Yeah. She gets married but doesn't get married. She's wearing Westwood. The bunny skirt, she's with Mr. Big, and then the pink one, she tells Samantha she's marrying Aiden. They're all really seminal moments in the character's journey that really would confirm what you just said. That they used Westwood as a way to bridge those two things together.
If you think about celebrities wearing the brand or who are associated with the brand, my mind always goes to, like, I'm talking about over the years, not like recently. My mind is always Gwen Stefani, and the other one is Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson.
Oh, we forgot Pam.
Yeah.
Now, Pam, she spent a lot of time with Vivienne Westwood.
Yes, and again,
very close.
And again, it's the kind of person and what Pam represents.
That's very true.
That just makes sense for Viv as a person and Viv as a brand.
That's right, because it's almost like Vivienne really she had muses over the time, but it was more that she was their muse.
Yes.
To me, I feel like she never really had celebrity muses.
Yeah.
And I think it's more because she didn't need it, and it was more like they idolized her.
Yes.
So, your Pamelas Pamela Anderson really loved Vivienne Westwood. I remember they were photographed together a lot.
Yeah.
They were good friends.
Yeah.
But you're right, because Pam is also someone that could give a fuck what people
Exactly.
think.
Yeah.
You really get that impression with Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
And she's also incredibly sexy, but she's also in control.
It's that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And that reclaiming of femininity, what it means to be a woman through your decisions, right? And not what society is telling you.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
That's a legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a real lasting legacy. I'm so sad that I'll never get to meet her, because what a person to meet. Can you imagine? She would have been
an absolute force of nature.
Eccentric to the core, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And she was from Derbyshire. She was a
Midlands lass.
She was working class girl from Derbyshire.
Yeah.
And, was a primary school teacher. And then just one day was like, met this guy and was like, I want to put safety pins in everything. And I want to do bondage, and I want to do topless, and I want to do this, and I don't give it. I could care less.
Yeah.
And she just did it. And just somehow she's a bit of a Madonna in that respect, because whether she did it deliberately or not, she created such a furore, which is how her brand grew.
Yeah.
And would you say she is the queen of British fashion?
100%. I don't think anybody else comes close.
No.
I mean, as talking about sort of like contemporary, definitely.
Well, no, especially because we talked about McQueen, and McQueen's not around anymore either. And so
king and queen there.
Yeah,
I mean,
king and queen, exactly.
If you think about iconic British brands, the only other one that I think comes up in conversation is Burberry, right? But there's no person behind that, right?
That's right. That's entirely right. It's not, Burberry is not a person.
Yes, exactly. It's had creative directors over the years, and you might like one era more than the other.
Yeah.
But it wasn't built off the back of a
true.
person.
The identity's not there.
Exactly.
And also, if there was an era for Burberry, it's now gone because they closed Prorsum. Burberry Prowse and
Christopher Bailey.
Oh my God, I had
Yeah.
a T-shirt back in the day. It said "Do Me Daily, Christopher Bailey." I wore it all
Wait,
the time.
it was the
Henry
it was
Holland.
House of Holland.
Yeah.
Wait, what was
I still
mine?
have that. I've got a collection of them. I've started collecting them again.
Wait, I've got the Kate Moss one.
Oh, I love the Kate Moss
with
one.
with the blue, it was blue metallic. Yeah.
So I bought mine from the first collection, which was all the designers.
Yes,
So I've
yeah,
got the
yeah.
so the Christopher Kane. I've got the Christopher Kane one. I've got the Do Me Daily was my favourite one.
Yeah.
I just got Giles Deacon. I got the Giles Get Your Freak On, Giles Deacon. I just got that. Great. I don't even know how we got onto this subject, but that was just.
Oh, we were talking about Burberry. We're talking about Burberry. Yes, King and Queen of
Christopher Bailey.
British
but
fashion.
Thanks for bringing me back
It
round. I
is-
don't know if I go off on a tangent.
No, don't worry, don't
I'm
worry.
off on one.
No, but it's Vivienne Westwood and it's Alexander McQueen.
We'll talk about Alexander McQueen next time. Oh my God, that's another one we can sit and
I
talk
know,
about for hours.
I know.
I think we've pretty much hashed it out. I think we've hashed out Vivienne Westwood. I mean, I think we could also talk for another 4 hours and we'd still have plenty to say.
Yes.
If you don't know the history of Vivienne Westwood, find out. She is, she was a woman in business.
Yeah.
She was a powerful woman who had an independent brand, who kept her identity, who didn't compromise her morals. She is an icon. She is truly, I think, one of the greatest designers, not from Britain, of all time.
Yeah.
And if you haven't owned a piece of Westwood yet, I would encourage you to get one. And I would also encourage you to get a vintage one because there's something very special about slipping on a pair of, although, suck yourself in when you try to get into some of these fabrics because they're unforgiving.
Yes, I will say, some of the sizing of the vintage Viv pieces.
It's a little tricky.
Go up a couple.
You definitely go up. Oh my God, thank you so much for talking with me
pleasure.
about Vivienne Westwood. This is one of my favourite subjects. So this is this has been such a pleasure. And it's always a pleasure spending time with you. You just make my day.
Listen, I could have sat here for 3 more hours, honestly. Yeah. And,
we natter on, we
and
do.
the only downside would have been that now my eBay watch list is much longer. Listen,
I'm
I've
gonna
already
send you
added
some
I've already added 2 things.
I'm going to send you some links. Don't worry, I got you.
Thank
This is
you.
what I do. Well, thank you, Cassie, my love, for coming on.
Anytime.
And we'll have you back on to talk about McQueen, definitely. And then for everybody else, if you haven't watched the former episodes of the Icons Edit, there's a couple for you to watch. By the time this goes out, there'll be quite a few for you to watch. Make sure you check them out. And I'll be with you next week for another episode of the Icons Edit. Thank you.
Thank you.